Hi there, I'm Hao, and it is just another video of me solving random code problem. Today, we have validate IP address. I like this problem because it is very uh, close to like a real world problem, right? Where you need to verify like an IP address to see whether it is valid or not, right? So basically, we're gonna return IPv4 if it is in the IPv4 format, IPv6 if it is in the IPv6 format, or neither, right? So they have a bunch of requirement here, right? If it is an IPv4, it has to be of length 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And the x of I has to be in this range, right? Uh, greater than 0 and less than 255. And s of I cannot contain leading 0, right? So this is not valid. Uh, this is not valid, right? Because we have a 0, 1, the leading 0 here, right? It is also not valid because we have leading 0, right? We cannot have the add here, right? Because IPv4 only contain numbers or only contain the digit, right, from 0 to 9, right? And the digits also need to be smaller than 255, right? Right. So if it is 0, then it is 0, right? But we cannot have leading 0 like this, okay? And if it is IPv6, then the length has to be 1, 2, 3 to 8, right? Yeah, the line gonna be 8, right? Between the colon here, right? In this, if you have 8 part, and each x of I need to have the length between 1 and 4, right? And it is hexadecimal, so we can have A to F, right? Uppercase and lowercase. And then leading 0 are allowed in X like this, right? So let's code this up. So we okay, so if it is IPv4, right? Which means that we will be able to split, right, by a dot, right? Like this. IPv4, we will be able to split by a dot, right? If it is IPv6, right, then we will be able to split by a colon, right? A colon. Then if it's IPv4, then after we split by the dot, it has to have the length 4, right? X1 to X4, right? So if it is length is equal to 4, right? Then we're gonna do some checking, right? And if it is true, then we're gonna return IPv4 here, IPv4, right? Right. And if the length, so, and if we split by the colon, IPv6, right? Otherwise, we return neither, right? Okay. So if it is IPv6, right, then we have to be able to split by the colon. And if we split by the colon, we're gonna have exactly a part, X1 to X8, right? We're gonna do some checking over here, right? If nothing is bad, then we're gonna return IPv6. Otherwise, you're gonna return IPv4, right? And if it is not length 4 or not length 8, right, which means it's not valid, so we return uh, neither, right? So you got the logic here, right? This is splitting by the colon here, if it is IPv6, and splitting by the dot here, if it is IPv4, okay? So, um, so if it is IPv4, right, we are not allowed empty string, right? It has to be something, right? It cannot be an empty string, right? Which means if we have like a two dot next to each other, it is not valid, right? So if the string is an empty string, right, we're gonna return even false here, right? Or if the string length is uh, so if the string length is 1, it's not 1, right? So if it is not an empty string, right, and if the string 0 at 0 is equal to 0, right? If the string at 0, if the first character is 0, right, and then the string length is not 1, which means it will have leading 0, right? Right. Uh, right. If the first char is 0 here, right? And the string length is not 1, right? Which means it have leading 0, and we don't allow leading 0 in IPv4, so that is not valid. But if we have a 0, that is valid, right? Like here, right? If it is if the first character is a 0, then it means that it has the whole string has to be of length 1. Right? Oh yes, and we need to loop through the string, of course. I forgot IPv4 here, right? IPv4, right? Um, yeah, right. So each of the string in the IPv4, right? We need to make sure that it's not an empty string, right? So it is x. The string here gonna be the x of I, right? Cannot be an empty string, cannot have leading 0, and then it has to be between 1 and it will have to be less than 20 or 255, right? So we can do this plus string. Okay, so th this is a conversion, right? Plus string, which means we convert it into a number, right? And we comparing it if it is greater than 255, if it is we return false. But before we even convert it, we need to make sure that it is convertible, right? And it is convertible if the string is only contain a digit, right? So for example, if I do a conversion of 255, or if you give me 255, but if I do a conversion of ABC, right? Or AC, right? It will give me not a number, right? It will give me NaAN. So the check here is to make sure that it is not a number. So it means it is valid. Okay. So and then return neither, false, right? Right. And then after that, we just have to loop through each character in the string, right? And we need to make sure that each character is a digit, right? Digit dot includes string of I, right? If it does not include string of I, we return neither, right? So we need digit here is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Right. So we've satisfied all of the requirements, right? It cannot be an empty string, right? Which means if we split by the two dots next to each other, we're gonna have an empty string, right? And that is not allowed. It has to be a number, right? It cannot have leading 0, right? And then it has to be smaller than 255, right? And every number, every character in X of I has to be a digit, right? 0 to 9. So that is IPv4. For IPv6, it's very similar. So we iterate over each X of I, and then if the string dot length is less than 1 or string dot length is greater than 4, we will return neither. Return neither. Let's make it a little bit more readable. Let's make a new line here. Right. Okay. So this is the first requirement, right? The length. And then each characters have to be either 0 to 9 or A to F, right? Uppercase and lowercase. So we need to iterate through each character in the string. So if digits doesn't include the string of I, if it is not a digit, right, and then it is not a hex, right, string of I, then we will return, right, return neither, right. So we need hex, right? What is hex? Hex just gonna be A to F, A B C D E F, right, and A B C D E F. Right? uppercase and lowercase. Right, so IPv6, we just have to make sure that the length is between 1 and 4. If it's not, we return false. And then for each x of I, we need to check if they are a valid hex number, hex digit, which is 0 to 9 and A to F. Okay, so let's try that. Oh yes, and it has to be inside here, the string. Right, we need to check each string, right? And it worked. Thank you for watching.